Hello, Trinity friends. This is Pastor Todd, and I want to thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your day or your evening to watch this webinar and to learn a little bit more about some important news and developments in our life together as a congregation. You're here watching this because you care about your church. And I've just got to say, as your pastor, I'm really thankful for that passion that you have for our shared ministry. I believe pretty firmly that you are here watching this because God has called you to be here. And as people who care about this community, we have a special responsibility to tend to steward Trinity Lutheran Church and its ministry. So we're going to take a little bit of time right now and think about our future together, and we're going to imagine what God might be calling us to do. Now, you've probably heard about our campaign theme that's going on right now, our fall sermon series, A Story to Tell. We believe that as people of faith, we are called to be storytellers. It's part of our legacy. Since the days of Abraham, our whole faith has been wrapped around this idea of story. First, it was told from person to person, parent to child, around the fire, at dinner, in homes, and it was passed down from generation to generation. It's an epic story about a God who created the universe, who loved the people, and when they wandered, drew them back. And when the people wouldn't listen, this God sent his Son to teach and lead by example, and ultimately to redeem them, bringing them new life, and then giving us a purpose to serve. And the church around the world has worked hard to figure out how to best do that. Now, approximately 1900 years after the time of Jesus, a group of his followers in Owatonna, Minnesota, gathered together. It was a group of women who were determined that there would be a church in their town where their children could worship and learn about Jesus in the language they had grown up in, English. And so, in 1919, Trinity English Lutheran Church was founded. I suspect there very well might be people who will remember that early church building. That church grew quickly, and they bought this building on the corner of Main Street and Elm, what is now the old Red Owl parking lot. I believe now that parking lot is owned by Federated. Well, that church quickly outgrew their building, and 35 years later, ignoring the advice of their synod office, they moved to the outskirts of town to what was basically a marsh area, and they built this building. The odds are getting better that you might know people, have relatives who were a part of the building at this time, who maybe were in that march as the congregation walked from the old building to the new. Maybe some of you made that walk yourselves. 10 years later, the church expanded to add an education wing. And as the church continued to grow, it developed a reputation for innovative and creative ministry. I think there are lots of folks who are around back in these days. And then 40 years later, the congregation again decided to grow its physical space in order to meet its ministry needs and to serve in the neighborhood. It was a big project, and it was a financial risk, but the congregation's faith was strong. And so today, here we are. I think lots and lots of you were around when this new wing was built. Well, this is an important part of Trinity's story. Even more than that, it's the story of how God has been working in our community and in our world. And today, we get to think a little about what the next phase of our story might look like. We get to wonder, in 50 years, what will be the story that people are telling about this era of Trinity's life. Now, you should have received in the mail a prospectus book, a campaign booklet. I want you to, if you have that available, to pull that out, and we're going to kind of walk through pieces of that together. It looks something like this. If you didn't receive one, we encourage you to call the church office. We'd be glad to send you one, or you could stop by and pick them up. In this booklet, the first page and the inside cover is just a note from me, and basically it's everything that I just told you, so we're going to jump past that. But then on the second page, we start listing the ways that our new space, this new edition, has allowed us to grow in our ministry. I got to tell you, as we started working on this list for how the space is being used, all the different ways the space is being used, I began to get really excited. There are so many different things that are happening here. This space is in use all the time. It reminds me that when we first prepared to build this building, this building renovation was just an idea, a dream really. We had no idea how it would actually get used. We had no idea really what the implications would be or how our ministry would change. Now, when I talk to people who've been longtime members, they tell me that they have a hard time even visualizing what the space was like before the project. It has changed, transformed, really, Trinity's entire ministry. There are whole new possibilities that we can do that we couldn't even imagine in our old facility. It reminds me that God has clearly been at work here. Then we go to page 3 in our booklet, where we outline our 3 goals at the top of the page. Now, the first goal is engagement. We hope for 700 families participating. I believe that engagement is everything. Now, in our first campaign, we had just under 700 families participate, and we raised together $5.1 million. In our second campaign, we had just over 270 families participate, and we raised $1.9 million. Now, it's simple math, really. If we had at least 700 families or individuals participate in our next campaign, we believe that the financial resources would follow and that our goal would be in reach. And it's been really fun to hear people get excited about this goal. So I want to give you just an important update. The Trinity Foundation understands this goal of engagement we have, and they are all in. And so they've issued us, our congregation, a challenge grant. The Trinity Foundation says that if we have 300 families or individuals participate in our campaign, they're going to gift the campaign $50,000. If we had 400 gifts from families or individuals received, they're going to give the campaign $100,000. At 500 participants or families, it's $150,000. At 600, it's $200,000. And if we hit our goal, and we will, of 700 families, the Trinity Foundation will give $250,000 to the campaign. Oh, this is an amazing gift, and it's an empowering challenge. It reminds us that every single person's gift is important. Every gift, whatever the size, is critical. Thanks to the Foundation for their partnership. Now, our second goal in this campaign, looking back at this page, is to eliminate the debt. Now, if we accomplish goal number 1 of engagement, goal number 2 is going to happen. People ask me if it's realistic. They wonder, can we really raise this kind of money? Is it possible that we could eliminate the entire debt? Yes, anything is possible. The Cubs are in the World Series. If that can happen, yes, anything can happen. And I believe our goal of eliminating our debt is very much within our reach. And our third goal is to grow modestly our regular annual ministry fund by around 7%, roughly $100,000. Now, this is for a few things. We'll have some increases in the cost of our health insurance and benefits for our staff. In addition, we are committed to continuing growing our outreach giving in 2017 from 12.6% to 13%. We really feel passionate about our special needs ministry as well that we want to develop, as well as a couple of other critical programs that we want to launch. Now, below on this page is our gift chart. It outlines how we can get to 700 gifts, and it shows how we can hit our financial goal. And on the next page is, I think, a helpful chart about what gifts mean over the course of our 3-year campaign. People forget the impact that even a small gift can make, and forget that a larger gift, broken down over 3 years, can be really manageable. Pastor Mike Ward, who's our stewardship coach, told me about how he asked someone once when he was a parish pastor to give a $1,000 gift to his church. "Oh, pastor," that person said, I couldn't do $1,000. I don't have that kind of money. Well, he asked, "Well, could you do $1 a day for 3 years?" "Oh, yeah, I could do that. That's easy," they replied. Well, I think this chart helps us look at our giving through a different kind of a lens. Again, small gifts given regularly over time can make a huge impact. Now, the next page of our booklet outlines our annual operating fund campaign. It gives more details there. And the last page answers questions that we've been asked frequently. To be honest, the back cover of the booklet is my favorite page. It has photos on it that tell the story of how this space is used every single week. I encourage you to take a look at these photos and see where you can see yourself in Trinity's story. Now, I've gone through a lot of information, and there's a lot of details in this book. I really want to encourage you to ask questions. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that right here, but what I'd encourage is for you to to contact me with any questions that you might have. I can be emailed at toddb@tlcowatonna.org. That's TODDB@tlcowatonna.org. Or you can call me at church at 451-4520. Now, the other thing I'd like you to do is to think about your dreams for the building and for our church, for our whole congregation, really. There's some questions I'd like you to wonder about, ponder, and pray about. What would you be most excited about in our future if we as a church are able to eliminate our debt? All the possibilities that we have for ways that we can serve and care for people, that we can worship, that we can continue to grow in our faith. What is possible that we aren't even thinking about? Because we're collecting this information. And as we look ahead at our planning for the future, when we've removed this debt, we want to have a good idea stepping into that as to what we're going to be doing with the money that we're not then sending to the bank every month. I'd encourage you to send this information to me as well, toddb@tlcowatonna.org, or call me at 451-4520. Thanks for that. I really, really would appreciate and look forward to your input. Well, by now, I hope that you understand how excited I am for this campaign. I'm excited because we have a real chance to become debt-free in the next 3 years and to begin investing much more into ministry than into just payments to the bank. I think we can achieve the goal of becoming debt-free. Here's why. Again, when we built this building, it was only a dream. People gave in hope that the facility would be worth it. Well, now we have it. We're living in it. We're using it every day. It is clearly worth it. If everyone who is still here from that first campaign gives what they gave before and adds just a little bit to it, makes a modest increase to the larger of their previous 2 campaign gifts, and then if we engage new members, like myself and my family actually, to make significant gifts, we as a congregation will eliminate this debt. We have a strategic plan that we're living into together. We have a reason to get rid of this debt. Now, if Trinity were a church that wanted to kind of settle back and rest on its laurels, we'd be fine just kind of carrying this debt into the future. If we were not interested in making an impact, we wouldn't have to do a campaign as rigorous as this. If we didn't want to dream, we could just kick back, but we do. We do want to dream and think about the future and what our ministry will be like, all the new potential that God is calling us to. So to do that, we want to get rid of this debt. To date, in addition to the challenge that we've received from the foundation, we've received pledges so far to the capital campaign, over 50 pledges that total $545,080. The average pledge is just under $11,000 over the course of those 3 years. Now, if we took those pledges that we've received so far and we compared them, the same people who pledged to the first 2 campaigns, our first campaign, the current amount that people have pledged for this campaign is $26,059 higher than it was to the first campaign. The difference between our current campaign and our second campaign is even more stark. $78,881 more have been raised currently than was raised in 3 years ago in our second campaign. Looking at our annual fund, we received 48 pledges for a total of $240,655. If we compare those 48 pledges to last year's pledges, they've increased by $18,753 to date. That's an 8.5% increase so far. We are well on our way to reducing or eliminating our debt and to increasing our current operating funds to meet our needs. Now, you have a packet of information that you have or will soon be receiving in the mail. It has a letter that will ask you to make a gift to the Story to Tell campaign, as well as the Trinity in Motion campaign that supports our annual ministry. Our hope is to grow these amounts so that we can increase our ministry in the life of our congregation. Now, in your letter, there's a range that we'll ask you to consider for a gift to the Story to Tell campaign. It's based on your previous support. Essentially, if everyone gives the smaller number in the range, we'll just about achieve what we need in order to pay off the mortgage. If everyone chooses the larger number, we will certainly pay off the mortgage. The total needed is just a bit of a moving target since we're going to accrue interest during those 3 years while we're paying it off. And since we don't know exactly how much is coming in when, it's going to be a little bit of a moving target. We believe that the amount to pay off the loan completely in 3 years will be somewhere between $4.1 and $4.4 million. I hope that you will consider a gift in the range presented. If you're thinking that you could do a gift more than the range presented, please know that you are welcome to do that. We'd be very grateful. If you just can't do the range presented, I totally understand, and I'm confident that you'll be as generous as you are able, and we'll still use that range as your guide. We've been receiving some early gifts, and we're really grateful for the response. We are thankful for all that has been given in the life of the congregation. Our foundation gift has increased, and we have also been given the estate gift of a home as well that we'll need to sell. We don't know how much that will be worth yet at this point, but that, in addition to the gifts we received so far, make us really confident. Now, what I'd like you to do is to take a little bit of time and spend some time in conversation, if you're married, with your spouse or your family. Take some time in prayer and discern your gift. I'm hopeful that most of you will be ready to turn in your intent forms very, very soon. The weekend of November 12th, 13th, we'll be receiving the intent forms back in worship. And we will keep a running total going that will tell the story of how the giving is going so far. So we encourage you to come to worship and watch the announcements and see where we're at in the campaign. I'm hopeful, again, that your gifts can come in the next few days. We can get them added into the count as soon as possible. If you have any questions, I'm always available. Again, 451-4520 is my number at church, or my email is toddb@tlcowatonna.org. You could also talk to Tim or Vanessa Jensen, who chair our campaign, or in our church office, Tanya or Diane. Now, what I want to do is close our time together with prayer. This prayer was written for this campaign specifically. I think it'd be appropriate for us to pray this prayer together. Let us pray. Gracious God, author of our story, throughout the life of our congregation, you've been faithful, and your Spirit has been present within this community. We give you thanks. As we enter this special campaign, please bless us with a deepening commitment to growing in our faith, to serving those around us, and to becoming an even more generous community. Let your Spirit empower us as we strive to grow in mission and ministry. Guide us, lead us, and direct us in all we do, that we can respond joyfully to your grace and to the exciting opportunities before us. Please give us the hope, courage, and wisdom to love you with our whole heart and love our neighbors as ourselves. Let your story become our story. Amen. Again, I want to thank you for your time watching this webinar. Hopefully it was been informative and helpful. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. We give you thanks every day for you being a part of this congregation, this wonderful community of people that God has called together and is named Trinity Lutheran Church. Thanks be to God. Have a great day.